So here's where this gets really personal for me. My work is about helping people access their ancestral and cosmic lineage, not as an abstract concept, but as a felt, embodied reality. When we heal our ancestral wounds, we're not just healing ourselves, we are changing the story that gets passed forward. And what I'm seeing in Filipino pageant culture is ancestral reclamation happening in public, in real time, on a global scale. The Philippines has been colonized, occupied. Its people have absorbed centuries of messages about who they are and who they are allowed to be. And yet, this culture built a system to put their women on the international stage and say, look at us. We are excellent. We are here and we are so proud. That is a people rewriting their story. Hey everyone, it's Heather. Welcome to the Cycle Starters podcast. This is a special episode. This is a solo episode. I've gone down a rabbit hole with the Miss Universe Philippines pageant, and it's affected me in a way that's really surprised me. So I wanted to share some thoughts that I have about it. So when I was a little girl, my mom and I used to watch Miss USA and Miss Universe together. My mom is from Tacloban City on the island of Leyte in the Philippines. So we would sit there, just the two of us, watching these incredibly gorgeous women walk across a stage and command a room. And so as a kid, I didn't have language for it back then, obviously, but I did feel something. I felt some kind of electricity, like that's a woman who knows exactly who she is. So, I've taken a break from pageants for a long time. Obviously, when Pia Wurtzbach won, and there was that whole debacle with Steve Harvey that caught my attention, and then Catriona Gray, when she won, that caught my attention. Pageants have always been in my body. They've always been part of how I relate to my mom, to beauty, and what it means for a woman to take up space. So, fast forward to adulthood. I got married in 2024, and my husband and I decided to spend our honeymoon in the Philippines. So, we went to Coron, we went to El Nido, and we did go to the island of Cebu, and we went to multiple locations there because I have family in Cebu City. And so we went to all of these magical, like absolutely stunning, life altering places. And I got to reconnect with my titas and my cousins and my nieces and nephews. And it was just like this most beautiful experience. So the Visayas run deep in my blood. My mom, like I said, is from Leyte. I have family that live just outside Cebu City, and I also have family in Manila. And I think I have other family members spread all over the country, to be honest with you. But the Philippines, for me, are a home in a way that is hard to explain if you haven't experienced it. So when I got back from my most recent trip to the Philippines, I wanted to stay connected with my family. And the easiest way to do that was through Facebook. And so I started friending my family members. And when I went to friend my nephew, Axel, his Facebook page was pretty sparse. There weren't a lot of posts on it. But one of the things that was on it was this video of Catriona Gray, Miss Universe 2018. Was her final walk. So if you know, you know. If you don't, let me paint a picture. Catriona Gray is a Filipina Australian. She is multiracial, just like me. And my dad is African American with both West African and Northern European ancestry, just so you know that. So she's walking the Miss Universe stage for what might be her last time. in this gorgeous gown inspired by volcanic lava. Deep reds and oranges, molten and alive. And instead of just walking the runway like everyone else does, she does this thing. She slows down. She plants her feet, she turns to the crowd, and she does this ever so slow, very deliberate, impossibly graceful turn. Like this moment belongs to her, and she absolutely knows it. So it became iconic. Filipinos everywhere call it the lava walk. It's been analyzed, recreated, celebrated for years. And I watched it on my nephew's Facebook page, and I couldn't move. I watched it again and again and again and again. And something in me just stopped and looked. This woman was so poised, so sexy, and so powerful, so completely unapologetically present. And she was a Filipina. She was walking out there carrying all of us with her, and she knew it, and she wasn't buckled by it. She was lifted by it. And so I was so proud. Like it brought me to tears watching this. And I just don't have a better word for it, just proud. And then I went down a rabbit hole. YouTube reaction videos, Filipinos all over the world watching Catriona win Miss Universe 2018. And I'm watching these videos of people in their living rooms, in restaurants, in airports, in malls in the Philippines, in apartments in London and Dubai and LA, and everyone is screaming. They are crying. They are jumping up and down with just unbridled joy. They're hugging strangers, and something just cracked open inside of me because I understood it. I felt it. That very specific kind of joy that happens when someone who looks like you, who comes from where you come from, walks onto the biggest stage in the world and wins. That joy isn't just personal, it's ancestral. It moves through your whole lineage. So I was hooked, and I have been hooked ever since. So I want to give you the fuller context because the trip itself matters. I spent significant time on the island of Cebu during this last visit, and something happened there that I wasn't prepared for. Truthfully, this happened everywhere that I went in the Philippines, but I was seen as a Filipina. I am a Filipino-American. I grew up in the States, and here my Filipino identity was always kind of in the background up until about 2018. It was something I carried but didn't lead with, something that didn't always fit cleanly. But in Palawan, in Cebu, I was not an outsider. People looked at me and saw one of their own. I was with my titas and my cousins and just like listening to the words, right? The phrases, the language that was spoken in my childhood home, even though I am not fluent in Waray or Tagalog at all, but I understand a lot. Um, yeah, I was just eating the food that I grew up eating and being held by the land my mother's people come from. And I think something that had been quietly aching in me for a long time just exhaled. My whole system exhaled. And then I came back home to LA, and I couldn't stop watching Miss Universe Philippines content. And I want to be clear, I do not think that this is random. I think that that is integration. I think that my body and my soul went to the Philippines, got reminded of who they are, and came home looking for more of that feeling. So I was looking for more spaces where Filipina excellence is not just allowed, but it's celebrated out loud, unapologetically. Like it's the most natural thing in the world because in the Philippines, it is. So in the West, beauty pageants are complicated. They are controversial. People debate them constantly, and some of those debates are absolutely worth having, which I will get into. But in the Philippines, Miss Universe is the Super Bowl. People know these women's names. They follow their training, their journeys, their advocacy work. And when a Filipina wins on the international stage, the country stops. Businesses will close early. Families gather together. Strangers cry together at malls. The Philippines, I'm proud to say, has won Miss Universe 4 times. 4. That is not luck. That is a culture that has built a system, a genuine infrastructure of coaching and mentorship community, because they decided that their women being seen on the world stage really matters. And so just think about what that says. Think about what it means for a young Filipina growing up, watching these women on television, knowing that her country believes in her excellence so much that they have built an entire institution around it. That is not shallow, in my opinion. I think that that is a form of ancestral investment. So one woman in particular has completely captured my attention right now. And I am referring to the amazing Nicole Borromeo. She is Miss Universe Philippines, Cebu Province 2026. And she's been in pageantry for years. She won Binibining Pilipinas International, represented the Philippines at Miss International 2023, where she placed top 4 in the world. She walked Paris Fashion Week, and then she came back to compete for Miss Universe Philippines, representing Cebu Province. And she didn't have to do this. She chose to do this because this is her devotion. And I think she said in an interview, probably multiple interviews, that this was the universe guiding her. Like she had to do it. She felt called to do it. And for her national costume, she wore a design called Reyna sa Kadagatan, Queen of the Seas, and it was inspired by Cebu's place within the Coral Triangle, one of the most biodiverse marine ecosystems on the planet. She didn't show up in something generic and sparkly. She showed up wearing her home, her province's relationship with the ocean, her ancestry. And as I mentioned, I spent part of my honeymoon in the waters of Cebu. I know what that ocean feels like. And watching her carry it onto that stage really hit me somewhere I didn't expect. And that is not performance. That is devotion. That's a woman saying, this is where I come from, and I'm very proud of every single part of it. And there were many costumes on that stage that were absolutely stunning and gorgeous. And I have to give credit to all of the Filipino designers that created all of these gowns, all of these costumes. Like, I'm so impressed with the craftsmanship and the artistry of my people. I also have to mention that Nicole's preliminary evening gown performance was breathtaking. I also watched that multiple times. Like, she's just amazing. So now I have to be real with you because I'm not going to skip over the complexity of all of this. So beauty pageants have a history. Colonial beauty standards are real. And in the Philippines, especially, the legacy of Spanish and American colonization has absolutely shaped what gets coded as beautiful, what gets rewarded and what gets a crown. And that is not a small thing. That is worth naming. And I will also say that they are still selling skin whitening products in stores, all over the Philippines. So the pressure that these women are under is very intense. There's a lot of scrutiny of their bodies, their faces, their every word. And I'm not going to pretend, okay, that that's entirely healthy. I am aware of all of it, but here's where I've landed. And this is actually the thing I want you to sit with. two things can be true at the same time. A container can be imperfect, and then the women inside of it can be extraordinary. The old system can carry old wounds, and the people navigating it can be actively reclaiming something within it. You can critique the framework and be moved to tears by what these women do inside of it. And I don't think that that is bypassing critique. That is holding the full complexity. And honestly, that is the cycle breaking work. It's not burning everything down and walking away clean. It's being willing to stand inside the mess and ask, what is worth reclaiming here? What is being transformed from the inside? Because when I actually watch these women, when I watch how they carry themselves, how they speak, how they perform under pressure, that most of us will never experience, I see women who have trained their minds, their bodies, their presence, their voice for years so that when they walk into a room, nothing about them is apologetic. They know their history. They've done the research. They can speak about policy, about the environment, about social justice very clearly, articulately, under a spotlight, in front of a global audience, often in a language that is not their first. And they do it without shrinking. So, as an astro-ancestral healing guide, my clients are cycle breakers and cycle starters. They are female bodied beings who have done deep ancestral and trauma healing work and are now stepping into their highest soul mission. These are beings who are learning, sometimes for the first time in their lives, what it feels like to be fully seen. And this is exactly the energy I point them towards. Not the pageant part, but the radical willingness to be fully visible part. The I have worked too hard and come too far to make myself small for your comfort part. The walking onto the stage anyway part. And here's where this gets really personal for me. My work is about helping people access their ancestral and cosmic lineage, not as an abstract concept, but as a felt, embodied reality. When we heal our ancestral wounds, we're not just healing ourselves, we are changing the story that gets passed forward. And what I see in Filipino pageant culture is ancestral reclamation happening in public, in real time, at scale. The Philippines has been colonized, occupied. Its people have absorbed centuries of messages about who they are and who they're allowed to be. And yet, this culture built a system to put their women on the international stage and say, look at us. We are excellent. We are here. We are goddesses and we are proud. That is a people rewriting their story. And Catriona Gray didn't just win Miss Universe. She did the lava walk in front of the whole world and said, I am not here to be small. I am not here to be palatable. I am here to be unforgettable. And my nephew, a young Filipino man, had that video as one of the only things on his Facebook page. And so think about what that means. Think about what he's carrying forward. Think about what it does to a young person to grow up knowing that their culture produces that level of excellence. So I started this video talking about watching Miss Universe with my mom when I was little. And I want to end it here too. She's from Tacloban City. She came to this country with $100 and a suitcase with one outfit and a pair of pajamas. And she did this in 1967, and she built a life here in the States. And on those nights when we watched those pageants together, I think she was showing me something. Even if neither one of us had the words for it at the time, she was showing me women who claimed their space, women who took up space who trained for it, who showed up for it, and refused to disappear. I think about that now when I watch Nicole Borromeo or Bea Milian-Wendorsky or April Smith walk out in their evening gowns and their national costumes. I think about my titas in Cebu. I think about my nephew Axel with that video of Catriona Gray on his page. I think about all those Filipinos in living rooms and malls around the world screaming and crying and holding each other. Visibility isn't just personal, it is ancestral. When you claim your space fully, unapologetically, in your body, with your voice, you're doing something your ancestors maybe never got to do. You're completing something, you're sending something forward. And I think these women know that. They feel it every time they walk out on that stage. And I think somewhere deep down, so do you. So if this landed for you, I would love to hear about it in the comments. Tell me where you are in your own visibility journey, in your own ancestral healing journey. And if you are ready to stop playing small and step into your highest soul mission, you know where to find me. Before I go, I have to give a massive shout out to the pageant vloggers on YouTube who have educated and entertained me throughout this whole Miss Universe Philippines journey. If you want to go down this rabbit hole yourself, go find Be Extra with Dell, Luis Portelis, and Danny Walker. These three have kept me company through countless hours of pageant content, and I am genuinely grateful for what they do. So please go show them some love. All right, everybody. That's it for now, and I will see you next time on the Cycle Starters podcast. Okay, take care. Bye.